Okay, everyone, I hope that you are back from our break or filtering in soon as we pivot to our next three speakers, which, like I said, we'll all take that building science lens and kind of hone in on what we're experiencing in California and in the Bay Area. Our first speaker is Scott Salyer from Sonoma Clean Power, and he's going to talk about the Sonoma Advanced Energy Rebuild Program, as well as discuss why a power company is getting involved in rebuilding of homes and kind of what the stake that they have in the game as well as we deal with more and more fires and energy efficiency and climate change impacts. Scott, do you want to get started?
Yes, absolutely. Let me get myself sorted out here. All right, well, thanks so much for having me here. My name is Scott Salyer. I am the program manager at Sonoma Clean Power for the Advanced Energy Rebuild Program. It was originally created by Rachel Kuykendall, and all of the great design work that went into this is really her work, so I want to thank her. For those of you that don't know us, Sonoma Clean Power is a community choice aggregator in Northern California. I believe we were the second in the state to go live. We began service in 2014. I think we're coming up on 30 employees now, which is very exciting. We generate electricity for about 600,000 customers in our service territory, which covers Sonoma and Mendocino counties. PG&E still owns the wires, and we buy cleaner electricity for our customers. It looks pretty much the same to our customers, but we like to think we give a little bit more bang for the buck. Because we're a community choice aggregator, we're able to determine our fuel mix. We are currently with our Clean Start default rate, 90% carbon free. We also have an evergreen rate, which is 100% renewable 24 hours a day. And the reason that we're able to do that is because we have a great resource in Sonoma County called the geysers. It's geothermal, and we get 50 megawatts of geothermal from there. So a little bit of serendipity in terms of what we have as local resources. We leverage a lot of other things as well, wind, solar, a tiny bit of biomass and quite a bit of hydro for our default rate. And then the other rate is called evergreen. The reason that this program came into being is obviously unfortunate. We had some devastating fires in 2017. This is a map of the Tubbs fire. The Nuns fire occurred during the same season. We lost 5,800 homes. And in response, we began working with PG&E as well as the Bay Area Air Quality Management District to help these homeowners rebuild more efficiently. And we really couldn't have given our homeowners this much if we hadn't paired up and partnered up with those organizations. We leveraged the existing California Advanced Homes program that PG&E was running. It was existing, so we could use the infrastructure, we could use the existing relationships to launch our program. That allowed us to launch in May of 2018. We really began with the idea of helping customers meet the forthcoming Title 24 2019 code before it went into effect. These were 2016 Title 24 homes. And the things that we wanted to accomplish was building more efficiently, to electrify as many homes as possible, to add solar and battery for resilience, and to build the infrastructure for electric cars. to put that into place so that when homeowners are ready to purchase their next car, they already have an EV charger in place. We gave these customers a number of ways to participate. We wanted the program to be flexible. So we didn't have different incentive levels depending on whether you say put in a heat pump water heater or HVAC system or other things. We had a performance approach that allowed customers to simply meet a target of 20% above Title 24. We had a menu-based approach as well. If you just wanted to check off a list for your home and just follow a list that was easy, we called it the simple menu-based path. In reality, what we found is that most customers would much rather do the performance path. It just gave a lot of different ways to meet the requirements, including things like added insulation in their attics, high performance attics, which are much more part of the code now, but were optional before. We also added the flexibility of giving customers the opportunity to have gas in their homes if they would like to, but sweeten the deal if they wanted to go all electric. And finally, we gave a $5,000 bonus if customers wanted to add battery to their home. And we found that quite a few customers did, especially as we began to deal with the PSPS events. I also want to give an idea of kind of the impact of this program on emissions and some of the other things that are that occur in this picture. So a 2016 Title 24 dual fuel home meeting code has about 3 metric tons of CO2 equivalent per year. It goes down a little bit if you meet that 20% target for our program. So you can see there's still quite a bit of emissions, even if you have a more efficient home. If you're using gas in the home, there's not a lot you can do about the emissions. You can't really get those super low. If you build an all-electric home at 2016 Title 24 code, it dramatically drops. And then there's a small difference between that and an AER home. And that's mostly because you've already taken most of the carbon emitting things out of your home. And frankly, we have such a clean fuel mix that the difference isn't that high. And then if you were to go even further and to sign on to our evergreen rate, you can probably reduce that by another half just because of the 24-hour renewables we have with the geothermal and things like that. So our customer-facing program is essentially a Sonoma Clean Power program. And the way it looks to the customer is you have your two options, dual fuel or all electric, 7,500 or 12,500. And if you want to, you can add a battery on there. In reality, I'll also say that we had 50% of those rates for ADUs and multifamily, and we did have some of those come into the program. I think we had about 30 ADUs. We had around, I believe we had 96 multifamily units built through this program that took advantage of this. But if you look, kind of peel back the cover and see what's going on behind the scenes, it's a lot more complicated because we were stacking incentives because the Air Quality Management District was paying for specific technologies like heat pump water heaters, heat pump HVAC, and solar PV. That makes the math a little more difficult. In addition, PG&E's program works on the efficiency of the home, how it works according to code, how much higher it is, where our program was a flat 20%. And so that varied the amount that PG&E was paying in. SCP paid the rest on those dual fuel homes. And then we had even more complications on the all electric side. And then Sonoma Clean Power paid for the batteries. So that's kind of how it works on the back end. We really wanted to make it as simple for the customer as possible. So, even though there's variations in how much each party is paying, For the customer, we wanted it to look very simple. A quick case study. This is one of the homes that was built through the Advanced Energy Rebuild Program. It is an all-electric home. You can see the what looks to be a Nissan Leaf in the garage there. There's some defensible space. That wasn't part of our program, but that's something that obviously people are doing with increased fire threat. I don't know if I mentioned this, it's 26% more above code, the 2016 code. So it's actually even more efficient than a baseline 2019 code project. It has some of the features you would expect in an all-electric home, like an induction stove. These are fantastic. We have them through our Advanced Energy Center. We just launched that website, so we encourage you to look there. It has a heat pump water heater. Looks basically like a regular water heater. It might be a little larger to give some buffer capacity. We have a mini split heat pump on the outside here, and we have a battery backup system. So you can see this is kind of a standard all-electric home. It has all the components of a regular home. They're just a little bit different. And most of them you don't even see day to day. Just want to give you some participation numbers here. We had 450 homes apply to this program. That's a pretty good rate, I think. 30% of these homes were all electric, far above the usual, what's being built these days. We added 1,300 kilowatt hours of battery capacity to these homes for resiliency. And the average was about 25% over 2016 Title 24. So again, the program was intended to essentially meet 2019 Title 24, and it looks like we essentially exceeded that in various ways. Some of the things that we're doing now, there's some reach codes that have gone into effect to mandate all electric new construction for residential. You can see on this map the cities that have adopted and are considering. There is some legal action happening that hopefully will be sorted out soon, and then we'll see if this is a continuing trend. What we've done since Advanced Energy Rebuild, we have a lot of projects closing out, but what we did is take some of the money that was approved by our board to start a new program that's essentially sort of a new construction electrification program. We built a program to build 500 units in our service territory using $2.2 million of the funds from Advanced Energy Rebuild that were not used for that program. We have a market rate component where we, again, have a dual fuel and an all-electric path. We don't have the 20% above threshold anymore because 2019 code is so rigorous that to go 20% above that would be incredibly difficult. So we have a much lower standard for getting above code. An all-electric single-family home can get $3,500. This is an SEP-only program, and so we don't have the added dollars from some of those other programs. And we have a $1,000 battery bonus. We also have the ability in-house to help homeowners apply for the self-generation incentive program that can help you buy a battery. As we launched this program, we realized we wanted to add something to it. We wanted to add a component for affordable homes. So we increased incentives by quite a bit. For single family homes, you can get $5,000 with a $5,000 battery bonus. And for multifamily, we're giving $2,500 a unit and up to $25,000 for battery backup for those multifamily properties, depending on the number of units you have. Some best practices that we've uncovered through this process. We were able to layer our incentives, and that helped us help homeowners above and beyond what we might have done otherwise. we had partners in this program, which is part of that equation of getting more dollars to our customers, but also leveraging those relationships and the infrastructure that was in place with the Advanced Homes program. You know, this program, although it has so many partners, really it was presented to the public as a Sonoma Clean Power program. That cut down on a lot of the confusion as to who's involved, who do I need to talk to, that sort of thing. And we had local resources like myself and Rachel and other people on our team that could be on the ground and helping these customers one-to-one. This is a high effort program. There's a lot that goes into it. You need to put some hours into these projects to make sure that they're supported. It can be a complex program. It was built for the original Advanced Homes program was built for contractors and for developers. And when a homeowner is dealing with that same process, it gets more complicated. We wanted to electrify as much as possible. But if you have one thing that you want a gas stove, you want a gas fireplace, we let you do that. Again, giving one-to-one direction to these customers and doing a lot of coordination with Title 24 companies, with builders and things like that was absolutely crucial. And I realize this is a little bit silly, but on the back end, we had to do a lot of the accounting and things like that to make sure that the various parties were paying what they were supposed to. But again, not letting the customer have to deal with that. That is essentially my presentation today. I look forward to any questions you have. Feel free to reach out. This is my contact information, and I'm happy to hand it over to Anne if she's next.
I think since you ended a little early, we might take a few questions that were specifically on your presentation. So hold tight, Anne. Thanks, Scott. One question that came in was if the program works at all on existing homes or multifamily homes and how we might be able to get existing buildings up to being more energy efficient or all electric.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I did not plant this question, but we are opening our Advanced Energy Center, hopefully in the next month or so. And we have, it's in the old Stanroy Music Center. For those of you that know Santa Rosa, it's on 4th Street, it's downtown. We have a grant with the CEC where we are researching new technologies in the lab, doing some demo sites, and then deploying. The site looks a lot different than it did here. This was last year, maybe around April. All of these walls are filled in. We have furniture in there. Our classroom is built. It's going to be a great space. I didn't have time to update those slides yet. But getting to the question, we are incentivizing a lot of those electrification technologies like mini splits, like the heat pump water heaters, even things like aerosol sealing we're working on, and some really cool phase change material insulation. So look for that coming soon. We have a website that is already up. If you go to our website, you might be able to get to that. So yeah, we're engaging that market very, very soon, the built environment market.
For the case study home that you mentioned, or the work that you're seeing so far, how are the overall costs compared to standard construction that just meets code?
I don't think we're seeing a lot of extra. You can see various studies out there. I believe the Building Decarb Coalition has looked at this question, and they have found that it's at the very least cost neutral. And part of that is because you don't need to plan for gas infrastructure on an all-electric new home. It's a little bit different for retrofit. because you need to remove that infrastructure or cap it and things like that. But really for a new home, we're not seeing a lot of difference there.
And you discussed that this program's been a lot of effort, taken a lot of time. And so why, as a utility or power company, get involved in this rebuilding effort instead of just, if these are new construction homes, they're going to meet the energy code, so they're going to be pretty energy efficient. So kind of why take it this next step further?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, we're a public agency, so we're here to serve the community, where we see ourselves as more responsive to our customers, more tuned into what they need, compared to our competitor. We all live in this area, and we see this as our community, and we wanted to make sure that we were supporting them. This was something that very soon after the fires, we were, I wasn't here yet in Sonoma County, but everyone at Sonoma Clean Power was affected by these fires as well, and knew people that lost homes and knew people that were deeply affected. So I think this was an easy decision for Sonoma Clean Power.
Great. And one more before we go on to our next speaker. Are you, we're talking about energy efficient and all electric homes. You mentioned a little bit about the defensible space in that one case study, but are you seeing any other of these kind of fire hardening or material or design changes in the house that, even if they're not mandatory, that people are doing in order to have a more resilient home all around?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know Anne is going to talk about a few of these things in her presentation, so I'll leave most of that up to her. One thing that's a little bit controversial from an emissions perspective is that some people are building with insulated concrete forms. It has a really high emissions impact on the front end. But if you are in a highly fire-prone area and you're worried that your home may burn again, it might be, the right decision for that homeowner. So that's something that we've seen. And again, I'll let Anne kind of pick that question up in her presentation.
Okay, great. Well, with that, it looks like there are 3 specific questions to your presentation, Scott. If you wouldn't mind maybe just answering those in the Q&A chat, and we'll move on to our next speaker.